right. Amazing people. What an exciting time to be on the planet right now. And for anybody that tunes into this, you probably already know that you chose to be here at this incredible time. And what I'd like to share excitedly today are some insights and some tools for things that are coming up for a lot of people as these incredibly accelerating and amplifying energies continue to flood into the planet to support not only our physical bodies shifting into crystalline structure, but also to shine the light on so many things that have been hidden behind the scenes for thousands of years. And what an incredibly exciting time. And so let's have some fun. And I'd like to share some things that have been coming up for my clients, for people that I know, and I'll use myself as the example so I don't have to put the spotlight on anybody else. I have some notes here. So what we're really talking about here is elevating our frequency to move into higher timelines and do it consciously and intentionally, and do it excitedly amidst all the intense energies and frequencies that are coming in. For myself, I have noticed a lot of anger coming up over the past couple weeks. And it was really interesting because that normally doesn't happen for me. And this isn't anger that's come up around anybody or any interactions with people. It's been coming up around what's been done to us, what's been done to the children, what's been done to humanity intentionally to harm, kill, murder, enslave. I mean, let's just face it. It's been done to us. And there's no turning away. There is only going within and processing any of this stuff. Hey, Rob's always great to see you. The key to moving through this stuff is to really become a calm, conscious observer. And I'm sure a lot of people know that. This is just my starting point, and I'm just talking to Jeff. When we have triggers, when we have judgments, when we have shame, guilt, fear, anger, and a big one for a lot of people is lack of forgiveness of ourselves and other people. My father did this to me. My mother did this to me. My ex did this to me. My job did this to me. Got it. Totally get it. And all those feelings are completely legit. So there's no sense blaming ourselves or really anybody else. If you look at the bigger picture, what I share with people as an invitation that helps people clear things very quickly is that every single thing that happened to us or that's still happening to us is part of our agreed upon soul contract. Key word, agreed upon. Now, as I say that, anybody watching this or watching the replay, it's likely that somebody might go, I would have never agreed to go through that amount of pain and suffering. There's no way. I don't remember it, and I don't think I would have ever chosen that. I've said that for probably a couple decades because it's an honest feeling. It's like, WTF? Like, how much do we really have to go through to move out of 3D? How much do we have to go through to, hey, Denise, great to see you. Love you too. Thanks for being here at this time. For everybody that's even seeing this, thank you for choosing to be here, even if you don't remember. I don't remember making that decision, but thank you for being here. You can see that, hey, brother, great to see you. You can see by now that there's only two choices. We either accept that we came here and we go, all right, what's my unique gifts to share? What's my mission? Where are my people? That gives me goosebumps. Because I'm sitting over here in Thailand. I'm mostly surrounded by Thai people, and I don't speak a lot of Thai. There is Montauk Chia's world famous Tao Gardens Retreat Center, which is 1 minute from my house. I'm pointing that way. That's my front door. I didn't even know that was here when I moved in because it was closed for the pandemic. But now, every month there's these amazing people walking down the street, and I know they're staying at Tao Gardens because they're white and they're not Thai. And so I've been able to connect with a lot of amazing people around the world. The point is, we either decide right now, okay, I don't maybe remember whether or not I chose to be here right now, but I'm here. And I can see things that other people can't see, meaning programs, wounds, things that are going on. I know the media is 100% lying. I know the governments have been completely corrupted. I know that they're sacrificing children. And I know that's how a lot of these people have either been in power, appointed to power, or blackmailed to doing what people want them to do. Okay, it's not pretty, but it's happening. And being all love and light, I'm going to talk about that too in a second, because this is something big that's been coming up for me, because I've been sharing stuff for over 20 years. I was sharing about the pedos 20 years ago when nobody wanted to look at it and everybody thought I was insane. And part of my soul contract was I was placed into private Catholic schools when I was 7. And I could see the programs running. The nuns were angry and they were pissed off every day. And every day was Judgment Day. And I didn't know the first thing about conscious awareness. But my built-in tuition, which is the go-to key, said, something's really wrong here. I didn't even know what inverted meant or any of that. But anyway, fast forward to today. We can see that we're able to see things that maybe other people can't see. So we're in a position to support a lot of people. Well, what is the best way to support everyone? To do our own inner healing and to clear our own automatic reaction programs. And we all have them. We all have them, no matter how much inner WORK we've done. We've got these programs. So what are the keys? What are the tools? And if anybody has any questions in here, this is a Q&A. And I love it when people pop in questions because it opens it up for everybody else and everybody feels safe. And this is a non-judgmental zone. So as soon as somebody asks a question, everybody else feels like relaxed to engage. So just want to throw that out there. So for me, this anger that's been coming up has been really interesting. And I noticed that there were automatics attached to my anger. And by automatics, I mean, when I would get angry by seeing something out there that was an inverted 3D program, I would automatically have a cuss word or a name for them, or just something that just became my go-to automatic, and my ego would justify it. And so it got kind of intense over the past couple of weeks. And again, I'm not getting angry with any human beings. I'm here in Thailand on my computer, interacting with people, observing, doing research on YouTube and everywhere else. And I realized that my trigger was coming up. So I was lying in bed one night and I had to be honest. And I go, Jeff, your anger thing, hey, Shah, it's great to see you. Your anger trigger automatic thing, you've got names that you call the people or the program, like Gaggle, which I call Google. Certain things that I see that are inadverted, that are intentionally trying to harm people. I had these automatic names, cuss words, and reactions. And I went, okay, isn't that interesting? And at first, the ego doesn't really want to look at it at 9:33 a.m. here on Saturday in Thailand, because we really don't want to admit, hey, brother, that we've got more work to do, you know, especially after like somebody like me. I mean, I've been going at it for a few decades now, and there's still things to uncover. So you just go, okay, isn't that interesting? There's something else to uncover. Okay, so here's the key that stops the ego. You just go, thank you. Thank you, trigger. Thank you for showing me with my awareness so I can see that program and admit to myself, key word, admit that I've still got a trigger. I've still got a judgment. I'm still holding shame. I'm still upset about somebody that borrowed money from me 10 years ago and hasn't bothered to pay me back. I'm still holding these energetic cords which are going out to people or corporations or entities or whatever. And so it's like, okay, now I can see that program. So what am I going to do to clear that? So the next time it comes up, I don't have the same cuss word, the label name, or story around it. So I go, okay, it's bound to come up again until I clear it. So I'm going to insert a new program that's going to be my new automatic. And I'm going to write it down. You know, I get my little notes or whatever, and I pin them up, or I put them somewhere, I put them on my phone, or I read it in the morning before I start my day. And I go, okay, our mission right now is to be really curious and really excited, because those frequencies will keep us in our heart, and they will give us clarity, and they will allow us to expand our conscious awareness and clear this. Because these aren't life sentences. These are just programs that almost every human being had to take on through lowering our vibration greatly to come into these human vessels, to have our complete memory of all our infinite knowledge from all time and space erased. That takes a pretty ballsy and badass individual to decide to come down here and go against these odds. So I would give yourself a big high five. And the next time you go to look in the mirror to brush your teeth, or, you know, get out of the shower, look into the mirror and go, wow, you've really survived a lot of stuff. I love you. And I have everybody that goes through my Waking Up in the Dream transformational experience. They do mirror exercises every day, at least for a minute, every time they go into the bathroom. And it's a really interesting thing to do, because in the beginning, a lot of people, they'll look in and they'll go, I love you, and they'll get away. I'm talking about hanging in there. I'm talking about really seeing if when you say, I love you, Jeff, what comes back? Because in the beginning, the ego came back with, oh, you're just saying that. You don't really love yourself. You've done all this stupid shit. You've, drank alcohol, done drugs, blah, blah, blah. You've been an idiot to people. I love you. I love you. I love you. So that's an invitation. Next time you get in the mirror, if you remember me saying this, it's a really good test to see where you're at with your self-love. And so, anybody have any questions? So, I noticed this anger coming up as a program. I noticed it clearly. I have to admit it, because the only way to dismantle it is to see it and to clearly accept it and go, yeah, I've had that running. I've had that running. Yeah, it pisses me off when I see people getting harmed, when I see children getting multiple jabbed, when I see people intentionally getting murdered by the millions, if not billions, when I see people in high places of power intentionally stating that we're going to wipe out 75% of the planet. Yeah, it pisses me off a little bit. So then I come back after I take a breath, and I come back to one of my other mantras. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And I smile, because smiling relaxes my body, because stress is not good for the body. It's not good for the program. It's not good for the automatic reaction. So breath is really key. And I know a lot of you guys know this. I'm just winging it here on autopilot, sharing the tools that I share with clients and myself every month. And this stuff works. I'm going on my 11th year of taking people through this process. And I learned something from every single person that shows up. And you know, it doesn't really take a lot of courage. It's only the ego going, oh, I'm kind of afraid because I don't know who I'm going to be if I give up all these programs, and I don't even know what programs I'm running, and I'm a little bit scared, and I don't know if I really want to talk about my wounds. And it's okay. I get it. Do you know that we can actually have fun going through this process? And yeah, there may be a couple tears. Usually on the first call, when people start telling me about what happened to them, I can see that they're holding decades of either pain or suffering or guilt or anger or whatever, and they're just like literally, in a way, dying to let it go. And I can see it, but they're trying to hold back the tears because we've been taught that it's shameful to cry or have tears, which is one of the most inverted bullshit lies on the planet. Tears are one of the most healing, freeing, releasing things that anybody will ever do. So when I see somebody starting to hold it back, I just automatically start bawling. It's like because I can feel that. I know what it feels like to like be holding back and holding on to shame, or not feeling like I can just let go and fucking let it go. Let it go, please. Either do it by yourself or come and do it with someone like me or somebody else you feel comfortable with. I promise you it will be one of the biggest reliefs ever. So then we go through the process and we start identifying the automatics. And the biggest automatics on the planet are judgment. Judgment's the biggest addiction on the planet by far. And it's not until you begin to commit to go, okay, I'm going to begin to catch all my judgments, or at least a lot of them. Because the average person is running 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And studies show that 80% of most people's thoughts are negative. It's really interesting. And that may be true. It may not be true. Obviously, it's going to be different for everybody else. But when you go through the process, you get this daily tracking sheet. And it maps out exactly what to do, how to begin your day, how to intentionally, consciously create your day. I'll ask a question and nobody has to answer here because I'm not singling anybody out. But who here, I'm seeing 10 people on this call, who honestly and intentionally created their reality first thing this morning, as soon as they woke up out of the sleeping dream, while their head was still on the pillow before they got out of bed? Anybody? Because most people don't. Most people wait and hope that it's going to be a good day. And then what they do is they end up reacting to whatever shows up in the 3D reality. And if you hop on Facebook first thing in the morning and you see something that triggers you or whatever, that could like determine the rest of your day. So what I have people do is, the first thing on this list is completed morning gratitude ritual. Did you love on every one of your cells, your trillions of cells that are consciously aware? Did you powerfully create and envision your day before getting out of bed? Did you get to a level where you were excited? I always high five before I get out of bed. And if I'm not ready to high five, I stay in bed for another few minutes until I go, okay, I'm grateful. Magic and miracles and synchronicities show up in my reality every single day. Anything I desire to pull in, whether it's connections, abundance, health, clients, helping wild jungle doggies, whatever it is, I see it and feel it is already here now. So did anybody do that this morning? because I'm telling you, this is simple, but if you don't make it a commitment, you won't do it. And if you don't make it a commitment, you might do it for one day and then, you'll forget about it 2 or 3 days later. And that's why this is so freaking key. And I'm not saying you have to get this course. I'm not trying to sell this to you, but I'm telling you, we are programmed. We have been programmed, and we've been programmed to react to the external. And that's why so many people cannot see the programs, because they're so distracted by the media and the fear and the shit that's just being pummeled out. And you've got to be able to see a program in order to dismantle it. Does anybody have any questions before I continue about anything at all? Wounds, how do I clear this? This is what's coming up for me. A lot of people are feeling overwhelmed right now. They feel like they have headaches, nausea, dizziness. They're angry. They're worried. They're in fear. This is all normal, because this is a crazy, freaking inverted matrix, if you want to call it, that we're in. But the really great news is, this is where we shift it together, individually or together. And you hear the timelines are splitting. People are going to choose to just blame whoever, continue to watch the television, not be willing to be accountable for their judgments, their triggered reactions, their projections on people that they feel did them wrong. It's not even that they're bad. It's just that they have wounds and they don't have the tools. They don't know how to do it. Because what happens when that wound or trigger comes up, they have an automatic emotional reaction that happens in their body. And what that does is that tricks them into believing they're right. I'm right because I can feel it. You just challenge my belief system and God damn it, I hate Trump or what, these people are so locked in to their emotional reactionary programs, they can't even see it. And so this is where, and it's only going to get more intense, but it's a good thing because we came here for this. So our invitation is to continue to do the inner work and ask ourselves, do I have any triggers? Do I have any judgments? So many people have opinions. Opinions are like judgments. They're the brother and sister of judgments. Well, and the ego just run all day. You've got to be able to see that program. There are no opinions in 5D and beyond. There is no judgment in 5D and beyond. There is no separation in 5D and beyond. And you might go, how the hell am I going to get there? I still have judgments. I still have opinions. I understand. It's okay. We're receiving help and assistance right now. Some of the things we can't even see. I don't know if I've got angels and guides or ancestors. I've called so many benevolent beings. I've said, hey, I'm here. Aliens, whatever, if you're benevolent and you want to come down and meet, I'm ready. I'm here to serve the collective, whatever I can do. Show up, show me, teach me. I haven't had anybody go, hey, or show up in my room or show up when I'm out in the woods walking with the wild jungle doggies. You're welcome, Heidi, and thank you for being here. Thank you. We're all mirrors, So, does anybody have any questions about anything? Clearing anything, clearing a trigger, clearing a judgment, consciously creating your reality, inner healing, forgiveness. You don't have to have the answer. It'll just open things up for people, because I'm telling you, as soon as somebody asks a question, everybody else feels like relaxed. And there might be somebody sitting back there, because I used to study with a man named Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements and the Mastery of Love in San Diego when I lived there. I was a recording engineer for a few decades. And I used to go to these dreaming weekends, which were Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And something would come up for me and I'd want to ask my question, but I was afraid because there's all these other people there. And I was just like, oh my God, I want to ask my question. I want to get an answer. I came here. I paid for my weekend. I desire to get what I came for. And I was all in fear. And every time I asked the question, boom, I felt so relieved. And I left the weekend feeling so high and so like empowered. And it was just great. So anyway, if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in. And if you have a question and you'd rather send it to me in private messenger or, inquire about doing a session or working through something, send me a private message. So my notes here, the keys to ascending beyond 3D. The thing that keeps most people stuck is limiting beliefs, judgments, automatic reactions, and any uncleared wounds or trauma. Here's a key that really, really helped me calm my ego down in the automatics. When I say automatic, I mean an automatic judgment, trigger, something reminded me of something I didn't like. This 3-word mantra is a really good one. And it's just this: I know nothing. I know nothing. Okay, so depending on who you are and what you've experienced, that may hit you differently. But for me, I created it because the ego always wants to know and it wants to prove what it knows. And we really know nothing. I mean, a whole part of this course is it's looking at beliefs and automatic programs. And the ego always wants to know. But let me run a couple things by you. The belief system is a prison. And if that triggers you when you hear me say that, just take a breath and step back and go, what's this guy talking about? Okay? The fact of the matter is, and the truth is, none of our beliefs are our own. None of them. They all came from sources outside of ourselves. Yet when somebody takes on a belief system, and again, with all the information out there in the universe, our beliefs wouldn't even fit on the head of the tiniest pin compared to what's out there in the universe. So when you finally realize that, if you're willing to be honest and go, wow, I really know nothing. I know nothing will actually free you big time. It doesn't mean that you don't know that conscious awareness is important, that love is the answer, that creating your reality is up to you with your thoughts, your words, and belief. I understand that. But if you can get your ego to go, I really know nothing. Now you've got it to step down, kind of switch shoulders from the automatic reactor over here to your ally, your loving ally, to just be the conscious observer. The observer, the observer, the observer cannot be manipulated. The observer does not automatically react. Or it might, but then it knows to take a breath and go, wow, that was a trigger. I just got triggered. I thought I cleared that years ago. And then you say, thank you. Thank you for showing me where I'm still holding a wound or a program or a judgment or some shame or some guilt around myself. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you shows that you've accepted it and you're no longer in resistance to it, because if you're in resistance to it, guess what? It's going to have to show up again, because you're holding resistance inside yourself, which is a magnetic being. And you're going to attract and magnetize to you that same situation, that same type of person, maybe that same lack of money or self-worth, whatever it is. Does this make sense? So Anyway, I'm just giving a broad overview of the process that I use on myself and that I've been taking people through for years. And I've never found anything that'll do it this quickly. And that might sound egotistical, but it's true. And why is it true? Because it shows you exactly when you're ready how to identify any unhealed or uncleared wounds or trauma. And we all have them. The hardest thing isn't clearing them. The hardest thing is admitting that you've got them, because most people don't want to admit it because it makes them feel even more screwed up than we already feel trying to move through this shit show. I get it. That's why self-love. I love you, Jeff. I love you. Thank you for being here another day. Thank you for not committing suicide when you wanted to leave the planet. Thank you. Thank you for hanging in there. You know, give yourselves a lot of credit, people. You're freaking amazing. You chose to take on the most inverted, freaking diabolical roller coaster ride that any unlimited divine being could ever do. And that's why you did it. Because what are you going to do if you're all that is? You're going to choose the most incredible ride with thrills and spills and insane. And you chose to do that, whether you remember it or not. And if you're still listening to me, something must be resonating. And I'm just a mirror. I'm just talking to Jeff again to remind him. And for me to come on here, you know, I got to get ready. I got to go, do I have anything worthwhile to say? Does anybody care? Who am I to come out and say anything about anything? I got these programs running. My title for this is Keys for Moving Beyond 3D Timelines. If you go look at my YouTube channel, Portal to Awakening, you'll see I've probably already done 10 different transmissions with the same title, because that's the best title I can think of for people that are interested in moving beyond this. And now we finally absolutely are here. And it's time to make that choice. And not only is it time to make that choice, but it's also time, instead of seeing other people as asleep or sheeple, as we used to call them, or less than, we bless them and we blast them with love. We blast them with love. Even the worst, what appear to be the worst, most diabolical mofos on the planet, whether it's Bill Gates' clone or Klaus Schwab's clone or, you know, Biden's clone or anybody else. We blast them with love. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be held accountable, but we are not going to hold any negative, low vibrational frequencies within ourselves. So we just go, wow, it feels pretty intense to say that I forgive somebody that's killed millions of people intentionally. But we're not the ones that decide that. We send them back to the Creator with forgiveness, and the Creator will decide what their healing or whatever needs to be done to them. We've all been murderers, rapists, thieves, probably. And I know the ego will probably go, not me. We've all been everything because we are everything. 11 people, 22 comments. I like it. Does anybody have a question? Anybody have a single question about things I brought up? I've talked about a lot. Okay? So, I know nothing is a great mantra, because when you can admit that, the ego is going to stop telling you what it knows. It might take a little bit of practice. That's why this is so good, because you begin to keep track of actually how many judgments you caught during the day, how many triggers you caught during the day. what may I still be holding on to from the past that it's time to release? It's so simple that even a teenager can do it. And there's teenagers that go through this course with their parents, and they actually move through it quicker because they've got less decades of programming and automatics than the parent does. So I'm in the process of converting this to a little different book for the newer school systems. And had we been taught this in the school system, our lives would be completely different, because the current school system teaches all this inverted nonsense and some really diabolical stuff around transgenderism and, political hatred. And any teacher that's teaching that should be canned. So anyway, yeah. So it all comes down to, this is the time when we have major assistance, major upgraded light codes, and it's all about, do I have anything to clear or heal? Do I have any judgments to clear? Do I have anything to forgive or anyone else to forgive? It's super, super key. And just be gentle with yourself. Be playful. Wake up every day and go, how can I serve the collective today? What can I do to serve the people, the planet, the animals, or anything else that you have a passion towards? Not just, what can I get for Jeff today? Well, I want more, I want more, I want more. You already are everything. If you don't have something you desire, then it's a frequency thing within you to be cleared, or that thing you think you desire is not for your highest good. So just go, okay, instead of me desiring more, how about I name off every single thing that I'm surrounded by right now that I'm super grateful for? I've got a papaya, mango, orange smoothie here. I've got a microphone. I've got a guitar. I've got a flute. I've got glasses. I've got a computer. I've got speaker system. I've got a beautiful home. I've got clothes. I've got running water. I've got a shower. And the ego might go, yeah, well, everybody has that. That's when you know your ego is running the show. Because when you go into gratitude, if you have trained your ego will go, yeah, this feels good. Oh man, this feels great, naming off all this stuff. I can feel them in my heart, and I can feel my frequency going up. So daily gratitude, it's part of the waking up in the dream process, and it becomes your new automatic. It may take a while to anchor in these new automatics. That's why people do 30 or 60 or 90 days with me, because it's like we do it every day. And there's nothing hard or difficult about it. It's simply just following the sheet. It's a reminder. Did I create my reality first thing when I woke up? Did I stop every time I had a judgment and catch it and go, okay, here's another mantra sentence that will change your life, guaranteed. This is another piece that's in the book, Waking Up in the Dream. Anytime you have an opinion, a judgment, a trigger, a less than thought about yourself or about somebody else, stop, because you can feel it in your body. You train yourself to feel it. It's the only way to dismantle it. You cannot dismantle a program or a wound unless you can see it. You must be able to see it and be aware of it. Then, anytime you have a trigger or a judgment or less than thought, you ask the magic, get out of hell free sentence. What is this trying to show me or teach me about me? See, the ego thinks it's about the person out there that did something to you or whatever. They're the messenger that's part of your agreed upon, keywords, agreed upon soul contract. When you begin to figure this out, you're going to, and I'm not saying anybody here that's watching this hasn't figured that out, but a lot of people haven't figured it out. And most people I take through the course haven't figured that out, but when they hear it and they begin to use it, they go, wow, that totally works. Because now, instead of being in resistance and my ego saying that something outside myself is the problem, now I'm finally able to see where the actual problem is originating. And that event or person or whatever that showed that to me was actually the gift. When you can begin to see this, you're going to start healing and clearing at an exponential rate. And the reason why I'm coming on to do this, and I do these lives, is because it's time. I don't know how much time we have before the timelines are splitting. I know that they're separating right now. I can see things. I can see people drifting off and away. And then the question comes up, well, am I not going to see my family anymore because they're asleep? And I don't think so. I don't know how it works out. I know nothing. What I do know, though, is frequency, vibration, and beliefs, and the use of my words and my focus every day. And that's why I practice these tools, and that's why I share them, because I don't ever intend to forget these tools ever again. It took me almost 4 decades to figure this stuff out. Well over 6 figures studying with different people, buying all the top books on healing and abundance, and none of it worked for me. I got some ideas from some things, but I would just read a book and my ego would go, yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'll do my best to remember that. A week or 2 later, I'm right exactly back where I was. It wasn't until I put together the system to go, okay, this is the stuff to remember every day. And there's nothing hard or difficult about it. But I must make everything on this sheet my new automatics. If kids are taught this in school, number one, they're not going to need to go to school for 12 or 16 years. I would say 1 or 2 years at the most would be the most they ever need to go to school. I don't even like the word school. It's probably got some frickin' diabolical inverted meaning to it, but whatever. Words, all spelling, all words have been inverted, or many of them have. Anyway, super, super key. And kids will not have their imagination squashed immediately as soon as they go into school, which is the whole goal of the Rockefeller school system. Sit down, shut up, and listen to me talk. I'm just a brainwashed person that calls myself a teacher that thinks I'm above other people. I've got all my plaques and degrees, and I'm so in my ego that I can't even see my own programs running. You, children, should be teaching me. Yeah. So anyway, you can see the stuff. All right. Anybody have a question? I can't believe this will be my only live where nobody asked a question, but I'm not attached to it. I just love it when somebody opens something up, because everybody just goes, okay, it's safe. I had a question too, or I had that same question, or they'll, piggyback off that question. All of a sudden, everything just goes boom, 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 instead of just Jeff talking the whole time. So anyway, let me check my notes here. And the only way we're going to clear any limiting programs, beliefs, or wounds or trauma is to commit to looking at them and loving them. Hey, great to see you. Okay. Well, I'll sum it up. Does anybody have any questions around inner healing, clearing a wound or a trauma, or clearing limiting beliefs, automatic judgments, automatic triggers, anger, resentment, anything that doesn't come from love? This is all about, these tools are about raising our conscious awareness and getting our bodies and our frequency ready so that when the timelines continue to split and separate, that we end up going where we came here to be, which is newer timelines. No disease, no aging. Our cells really don't age. It's programs like telling everybody how old you are every year. There's only one birthday. That's the day you're born. This whole thing just programs people into feeling OLDER. It's a very interesting program. And the people that created all these programs that allow our bodies to disintegrate, whether it's through lack mentality thinking or through the poisoning of the food, air, water, the frequencies, they had all their DNA. So they understand psychology, they understand how to invert, they understand how to manipulate, and I give my hats off to them. Here you go. That's my hat. But the game's up, and it's time now, and we're here. So these are the tools that I know that work, and they work very, very quickly. And also surrounding yourself with people that can have the deeper conversations. Like, I'm not really interested in, like, I have friends all over the world, but I'm not interested in really talking to anybody that wants to tell me about their problems or what somebody else did to them or how they don't like something or blah, 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 blah. You can just feel that frequency. It's weak. And God bless them. So I give them an opportunity. I'm like, okay, so what's the gift here? They're like, what? I'm like, what is the gift? What are you seeing? Are you seeing that you're being triggered? Are you seeing that you're going into judgment? Are you seeing that you're judging somebody outside yourself? Are you seeing that you're not accepting responsibility for the reality that you've created for yourself? Are you willing to look at that? If you are, cool. Got some great tools. If you're not, I'm not really interested in these types of conversations. I'm interested in going deep with people and having fun doing it, because you can have a lot of fun doing it. Just have to keep a light sense of humor, but be willing to go, okay. At the beginning of this transmission, I spoke about anger had been coming up for me, Jeff, the past couple weeks. And I was like, wow, isn't that interesting? And I'm not getting angry at people, so to speak. I'm more angry about things that I've been exposing for 20 plus years. You know, pedophilia, the government, all the inverted stuff, the poisoning of our air, food, water, manipulations, And I realized, wow, this stuff's coming up. And I have the tools to clear it. However, my ego wanted to justify it a little bit and go, yeah, but that shit's wrong. I'm like, okay, well, that's great. Let's zoom back, Jeff, and observe. Yeah, that may be wrong. It may be horrible. But why did I come here? Why did I come here this time? I didn't come here to hold resentment and anger towards other people. Yes, I've exposed things over decades, a lot, when a lot of people thought I was crazy. And everything that I exposed and many other people has turned out to be 100% true. It's just that certain people don't want to look at things that are horrific because it doesn't make them feel good, which is why people have been able to get away with it for so long. Well, it's time. The light is exposing all this stuff. So Jeff's mission is to share his unique gifts. I go out and I work with animals because I love them. It's not because I'm so great. It's because I love them and they're pure walking love and they need help because they were born in the wild and they live in survival mode every single day. So it's about going, okay, I'm holding anger. Hi, Shelly. I'm going to get to your question in 1 second. And thank you so much for asking the first question. Shelly rocks. And I'll post her question in a second. So I had this anger coming up and I'm like, okay, this is coming up to be cleared. It's not coming up for Jeff's ego to go, yeah, all these people that are poisoning us and they're doing all. No, they're being taken care of. And so that's going to bring me to my next point of, can I, Jeff, because I've been sharing and exposing stuff for years. My Facebook page got, suspended a few times. And then I created a Telegram channel, which I still have, where I can share anything about what's being exposed and some really good stuff. Now, my question that's coming up for me is, can I stop giving any attention at all to any of that stuff and just focus on every single moment from the minute I wake up to the best of my ability, because things shift, It's not about being perfect. It's about being in our heart. Can I stop sharing things and trusting that I'm creating my own reality enough to the point where I don't need to focus or share anything like that anymore? The only thing that I have a desire to share is my posts with the wild doggies, because some people are very kind to send in donations, and I'm spending more money on the dogs every month than I am on myself, because I don't need to spend a lot of money here in Thailand. It's great here. It's 10 times cheaper than the US, for those that don't know. And if you're interested in that, you could send me a private message or whatever. But so my thing is to share my gifts. And for some reason, when I decided to stay on the planet, because there were several times when I was ready to leave because of all the pain and suffering. And I was like, there's got to be more to this journey than all this pain and suffering. And I did not have the tools back then to figure out how to undo the programs and the wounds and all the stuff that was part of my soul contract. My dad dying when I was 7, being the only kid to grow up without a dad in school. All this stuff happens to all of us. See, the key is to go, oh, I chose that as part of my soul contract. Therefore, there's only one thing to do, and that's to find the gift. Otherwise, I get people that come and journey with me, and on the very first call, the main thing that comes up is they're still pissed off at their father from 50, 60, 70, or 80 years ago because of what their father did to them. God bless them, only because they don't have the tools to heal it. So they've been telling that story, my father and my mother did this, he raped me, or they were an alcoholic or whatever, and they've just been repeating that story over and over and over and over and over. What do you think that's going to do to your life, your frequency, your relationships, your self-confidence? You're screwed. So one of my gifts is to share these tools to the best of my ability, because they work, and they work fast. As long as somebody's willing to just be curious and just be honest with themselves. So for my anger, to wrap this up before I get to Shelley's question, I had to reinstall and commit to it every morning that if I have any anger come up, I'm going to immediately stop, take a breath, which is part of the waking up in the dream process for any judgment or trigger or less than thought or automatic reaction that doesn't come from love, joy, gratitude, or excitement. So I stop and I go, okay, anytime I get angry, I'm going to thank the person, the event, Google, whatever it is that's trying to do their inverted thing on me. And I'm just going to go, oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And I've already in 2 days, that short a time, been able to dismantle what was a really big building, kind of reoccurring flood of anger. And I'm grateful. I didn't like it, but I'm grateful that I had the awareness to go, this shit's coming up. I thought I already cleared this stuff. But things come in waves. And until we clear this stuff, our frequencies may not, I'm not saying everybody's got to be perfectly healed and you can't have one judgment or one less than thought, or I know nothing. I know nothing. I trust. And as long as I'm doing my best and I set my intention every day, how can I serve the collective today? Show me. The perfect people show up in my reality for conversations, for assisting the dogs, for creating ways to help other people in Thailand and beyond. The perfect clients show up. The perfect support shows up. The perfect friends show up. And I just see it and I feel it and I trust it. And I never I never allow myself to go back to, I'm not being supported or this sucks or whatever. I just keep trusting. And it's a process. Because for the longest time, I felt like I was totally alone here, doing all this on my own. And I know that's not the case. And I'm connected with so many incredible people just by Facebook alone. And I know Facebook was set up to track and invert everything. I get it. But it's all shifted now, and everything is shifting. So to finish, I noticed the anger that was coming up. Whatever it is for you that may be coming up, notice it, sit with it, and then map out on a piece of paper or whatever. Whenever this pops up, I'm going to thank it, or whatever your new program is going to be inserted. But you have to have the awareness when it comes up. Like for me, the anger, I would stop, because the ego would just go, yeah, they're all wrong. No, that's projecting on the external. That keeps the whole program or the wound running. It gives it energy. You got to stop, take a breath and go, okay, this is trying to show me something. And if I don't get it, it's going to intensify and it's going to keep going. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to implement something, a new automatic, which in this case, just to simplify it, is going to go, thank you for showing me that. Thank you for showing me where I'm still holding a wound or an automatic trigger. Thank you. That's all you got to do. And then just practice it a little bit. Next thing you know, a few days later or a week later, depending on the intensity of how long that's been in your frequency or your mind or your story, it's gonna dismantle, because now you're shining the light of awareness on it instead of reacting and giving it more energy. Does this make sense? It's really simple, but you have to be able to see it. Okay? So, Shelley. Okay, is there any way to determine our own frequency? Does this alter significantly from day to day, for example, if tired or not as diligent with thoughts and actions? First of all, thank you for asking the question. I know nothing, but I'm going to use my experience in taking people through this process over the last 10 years, and I will reflect this. Okay, the first sentence, is there any way to determine our own frequency? There are like meters or something that could determine your frequency, but let's keep it simple. Hi, Lisa. So let's keep it simple. Great to see you, and thank you for being here at this time. Lisa's amazing, and she's somebody that you would benefit from knowing if you're interested in conscious awareness and celebrating life. So Shelley, first sentence, is there any way to determine our own frequency? Okay, I would say without a meter or anything, how do you feel? Are you happy? Do you feel good about yourself? Are you excited? Can you catch yourself when you have a judgment or a trigger or anger or a less than thought or shame or guilt, and stop and go, okay, here's something that's attempting to get my attention. And yes, it can change from day to day. Tired affects it. Food might affect it. What you put into your body. Alcohol definitely affects it. I used to drink all the time. I was a recording engineer. It totally lowers your frequency. It's not happening. And I'm not using that as a judgment on anybody. Everybody do what you want to do, because I've done a lot. And just for me, it doesn't work. But yeah, so I would say, Shelley, what I was talking about at the beginning of this, it does take conscious awareness from moment to moment. And thank you for that, Lisa, which is why I share these tools, and it's the most important thing to me, because determining our own frequency, I have people set their frequency first thing in the morning as part of this process. I'm going to show you the book. I'm not trying to sell it to you, but this book comes with a daily tracking sheet. And this daily tracking sheet walks you through, everything's backwards on here. Left is right, right is left, tilted. So anyway, you start off consciously creating your reality as soon as you awaken in the morning. What does that do? That gets you on gratitude. Today, I'm going to focus on gratitude. I get another day. I'm so happy. I love on every cell in my body. Every one of these trillions of cells is consciously aware and it's listening. And when you talk to them and you thank them and you love them, you can just feel your frequency go up. And that raises your magnetic frequency because you're a walking, talking, vibrating magnet. And that attracts in, like, think of those as timelines, people, abundance, all things good. That automatically attracts those things into your reality because your frequency is now raised. And it might come down, it might go up depending on the thoughts you have, the things that you experience. But the practice of this is raising your conscious awareness to where if you have a judgment, a less than thought, a trigger, a fear, a doubt, shame, guilt, whatever, what I call automatic, an old automatic reaction, that you immediately stop and you go, okay, there's one. So what is this trying to show me or teach me about me? It's not about them. They're bringing the gift, even though sometimes the gift seems really crappy. The gift could be death. A loved one dies. I lost 2 dogs this week. I've not been super happy the last few days, but I've observed it. And I've gone, okay, what's the gift? Well, I got to spend a certain amount of time walking with these incredible dogs every morning up in the woods that live in the wild, and they don't trust anybody else. And they ended up trusting me. It took months to get to that point. But I got to spend a lot of time. I've learned some things about different medications for dogs. So it's not about me. It's about what is the gift here when we get triggered or our frequency gets lowered. Does that make sense? So yeah, every moment to moment, thought, breath, and looking for magic around I love that. Yeah. To me, these are the tools. And every morning, one of my mantras is, I'll say it to you the way somebody would probably say it to you. You're welcome, Shelley. Thank you for asking the first question because it opens things up for everybody. And if you have another question, feel free to pop it in. Okay? So I have everybody that goes through this process, waking up in the dream, consciously and intentionally create their reality first thing every single morning while their head's still on the pillow, before they even get up to go to the bathroom. Because what happens is, and if you got to get up and pee, then go do it, but come back to bed. Because if you get up and the mind starts going and then you go, I got to check my email, I got to check my, you're automatically back in the program. And I'm not saying that's bad, but what I am saying is, as soon as you awaken out of what we call the sleeping dream, it could be reversed. I could be in the sleeping dream right now, and when I go to bed, I could actually be awake. I don't know. All I know is I use my focus and my attention and my awareness to consciously deal with whatever it is, and from moment to moment. So the reason why it's so powerful, as soon as you awaken, while your head's still on the pillow, you consciously create your reality, because once those 50, 80,000 same thoughts start running, they're going to run all day long unless you stop. And I have people set alarms on their phone when they go through this process. So they set 12 alarms on their phone every day. The alarm goes off every hour. You might think, I can't do that. I've got to work. Doesn't matter. You don't have to catch every alarm, but you'll see the notification on your phone, and that notification is going, psst, where are you right now? Are you in the future? Are you in the past? Are you excited? Are you frustrated? Are you triggered? They're just reminders. And it's such a great free teacher to bring you back to the present moment while you're going through this process for 30 days or 60 days. Or for me, going on my 24th year of using these tools. And it gets better and better and better all the time. Now, here's the great part. I just said 24 years. You might go, oh my God. No, it's not going to take you 24 years. I was learning for 17 years before I put this book together. I never planned on writing a book. I don't have any business or authority. I wasn't an author. This book was all my notes to myself of programs that I started realizing and seeing that they kept running over and over. And I figured out a way to stop, sit with the program. And then I figured out things like, oh, this is about me. This isn't about them. But until you see that, the ego is always going to project that it's about them or something outside yourself. That's why so many people are distracted right now, because they don't have these tools. And the dark ones that are trying to take as many people with them to keep them stuck in 3D, they know the program: distract, 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 fear, programming, distract, and then all these subliminal messages. Do you know that on the Tell Live Vision, even if, well, I think I'm awake, I'm just watching consciously aware programs on Netflix or whatever. Well, that's fine. I watch a movie once in a while too, but I can see the program, man, the symbolism. But did you know that on the Tell Live Vision, every second there are 30 frames, 30, 30, 30. And in between those frames, they can put subliminal sentences that you can't see with your eye, but your consciousness sees it. So it's the most brilliant programming, deceptive tool ever. Yeah, I don't own a television either, but I'm just saying it's the master manipulation tool that they've been using ever since it was created. So we must have counter programs and tools to insert, to undo all of that low frequency stuff. So anyway, these are the tools that I use, and they work. And I'm just so honored that people reach out to me and go, I'm ready. I'm ready to go through the course. I'm ready to do it. You can get a book. You can get the online course with the PowerPoint video trainings, so you can really see in images me narrating it and text, because different people learn differently. Or you can come and do a journey with me. I journey with 3 or 4 people a month, because when we do the journey, I make myself available every day. Yeah. And so it just works. So anyway, does anybody have a question before I wrap this up? If you've been desiring to ask your question, I'm happy to answer it right now to the best of my ability. And I'm just really, really grateful and honored that people stayed on this long. If this resonates with you, please feel free to share this in your groups or with your friends. I know not everybody's going to resonate with Jeff, because I may come off as weird or intense or whatever, but really the truth is you can really, really have fun going through this process. It's just about being curious and not so judgmental on yourself. And so if you're interested, the book's available at half price through this weekend. The online course is available at half price. And if you're interested in even investigating doing a 30 or 60-day one-on-one private mentorship with me, I offer a free call. And it's not a sales call. I'm not going to try and talk you into it and tell you you need it. I do not desire to pull anybody uphill. I've done that in groups before, where some of the people were really into it and other people were just kind of curious and wanted to dip a toe in the water, but then they wanted to hold on to their stories and they weren't ready. And so I'm just not interested in doing that, because it's a lot of effort and energy on my part, because when somebody puts their trust in me, I'm all in. They're like family. And we have fun, and we may have some tears. But I guarantee on the very first day, you will begin to see programs that may have been running for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I've got people that are 80 years young, and it is young. And I have people play with reversing aging, speaking to their cells every day. And it works. It works. So anyway, if nobody has any questions, I'll just put a link to my website in here really quick. And yeah, I'm just super grateful. And I'm glad I came on today because it would have been easy not to come on because I was like, well, I don't really know what I'm going to say. And I always say a lot of the same stuff. And I do because the tools are the tools and they work. So, last chance for anybody to ask a question. And if you haven't formulated your question, just pop in a question mark or something really quick and I'll see it and I'll stay on for another, couple minutes or how long. But I want to thank everybody for staying on. And yeah, you too. And thanks for coming on and asking your question. I appreciate it. And yeah, it's my 10:34 here. I've got a couple dogs coming back from World Veterinary Services today, so they're going to be released back into their home after a traumatic experience of being caught and trapped and put in a cage and spayed and neutered. But yeah, I love doing it. I love doing it. So thank you, everybody. Have a gorgeous weekend. And again, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to send me a private message. And if this resonates with you, feel free to share out in your groups with your peeps because we're all in this together. Things are accelerating. And yeah, things are about ready to get really exciting. And a lot of people are going to need our compassion and our help and our support when they figure out that they've been lied to about everything. And so you guys are the ones to hold that space of non-judgment and say, hey, come here, I'll give you a hug. That almost brings me to tears just saying that because it's going to be a lot for a lot of people. And maybe a lot of people aren't going to make it. I don't know. I know nothing. I don't have it figured out. I just know that one of my pieces is to share these tools for those that are interested in moving through and clearing this stuff. So anyway, big, 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 huge love from Thailand. And stay excited. Stay excited because that's the highest frequency that I know of. Yep. Love does win. Thank you, Lisa, for coming on and sharing your gifts. And I'll see you out in the field. Big love, everybody. Big, big love. Yeah, attempting to end the stream here, and it's not ending. So 1:12:22. That was a good number to end on.